House, your Instructional Resource Coordinator, and I put together a video to help you with all your end-of-year forms. So let's get started.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. Okay. Forms that must be returned. You can either send these forms through the courier, or you can scan them and email them back to me, whichever is more convenient for you. The first form we're going to talk about is called a substitute invoice. What a substitute invoice form is, this is a form that you'll fill out. Okay. You carry it to your bookkeeper, okay, and you would ask her, how much money is in our damaged or lost textbook account. She will tell you that, and then from there you can fill out this invoice form, and then she'll be able to write you a check for all the money that you've collected in that account. You'll take that check, your copy of your substitute invoice form, you'll take it to Jody Pierce's office in finance. Then she will deposit that into a textbook account, and this money helps pay for future textbooks or rebounds or recase items that we have to do. This is due June 12th, so the last day of school for teachers. This is when you need to make sure that you have that check in that office by this date. Another thing, you may need to make sure that you send me a copy of that. Just take a photocopy the check and your invoice form. You can just scan it and email it to me, or you can drop it in the courier to me. The next one is a replacement form, and these are for textbooks that you're going to need. It can be teacher's editions or student textbooks that you're going to need for the upcoming year, that you anticipate that you're going to have increased enrollment, or you have so many discarded or books that are not usable that you're going to need to request some replacement textbooks. This is due by June 19th, which gives you a little bit more time. If you know before this date, you're welcome to go ahead and turn in those forms. Another thing that I've done this year is one place for all your textbook forms. I've placed all of the forms that I'm going to send to you in your packet. They are on the Google Drive, and I'll make sure that that is shared with you, and it's by grade level, elementary, middle, or high school. And it has a copy of all these forms in here, so if for some reason you need an extra form, or if your forms get misplaced, you'll know that you have those forms there that you can use. So if you want to type in those forms and email them back to me, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay. Please make sure that when your package, you're going to get student textbooks, like how many you have at your school. You'll need to make sure that you count those and that they're accurate, and that you get your principal to sign that. Teacher's editions, I'll give you a copy of the teacher's editions you have at your school, but this is just for your records. You do not have to return those. Modified textbooks, these are schools that have requested large print or Braille textbooks this past year. It will give you a list of these books that you have checked out to your school. All of these modified textbook items are due back by June or earlier if you have them ready. Rebounds are the first thing we're going to talk about, and this is a rebound form. And what you'll do is you will, on this form, you'll write down all the books that you have, and you'll either say that they are rebound or recase. Make sure that you total your columns so that I know how many total books that we receive from each school. Elementary is due June 5th, middle school is due June 9th, and high school is due by June 11th. Okay. What is a rebound versus a recase? Well, a rebound is, it's a damaged book, the binding itself is maybe falling off, or there's writing on the side of the book. Classifies as a rebound. Typically these are a little larger books, okay, than a recase book. How you can tell the difference is all of our recases will have the HF group on the back of it, so that you know that it has already been sent in previously for a rebound, and now it's called a recase. Okay. The reason that rebound versus recase is important, or why we have to differentiate those two things, is they're a different price for each one depending on the category that it falls in. New course forms, and this is for high schools only. If you anticipate that you're going to have a new course next year, there's a form that you need to send in, or you can email me later on and let me know that we have a new course and now I'm going to need this textbook and I'm going to need this many of this textbook. Final reports, and I think we've mentioned these a little bit in a previous one. The textbook, teacher, Braille, and large print. Of course, Braille and large print will only be applicable to certain schools that have requested those items. Final reports. How do I complete the textbook report? There are 4 columns. One is usable condition, lost, discards, or more than issued. Those are the 4 categories. For example, let's say for discards, if you have 2 discarded books, which means that you couldn't send them in to be rebound or recased, they're just in such poor condition, we have to throw those books away. Okay, so you would put a 2 here. Lost is 3. Now, if you have a lost book, you should be able to say what child lost this book. So if you have a lost book, you should be collecting fines or fees for lost books. Usable condition. Notice that you currently, when you first got your books, you had 30. Now at the end of the year, you have 25. That's because you lost 3 and you have 2 discards. 3 plus 2 is 5, so 25 plus 5 equals 30. Notice that the numbers here should equal. Final reports. The current balance column. This column contains the most up-to-date figure. Okay? Usable, lost, and discards, and just as I mentioned in the previous one, they must equal the current balance. Also, the last one is more than issued, and that's to say that at the beginning of the year you have 25 books, but for some reason 2 extra books showed up. Maybe they were lost books or whatever the case may be, they showed up. So now you have 27 books. Okay, you do not have to put that you have 27 books, because in AS400 it automatically adds those books back in, so you don't have to total that column, okay, for surplus books. Okay. Such as here, notice that the current balance was 30, usable condition now is 35, and more than issued was 5. It says do not add the surplus textbooks under the usable column. All surplus numbers must go under the more than issued. Okay, so you would put that under 5 and not include that in your usable condition. Now, just me using my own common sense, this does not make sense to me, because I want to say I have 35 usable books, but you don't want to do that. Just put that as 30 and more than issued is 5, because the program is set up where it adds those books to your usable condition automatically for you. Closing notes about the reports. Please make sure that you don't need to place zeros in any of those things that have not changed. You just leave them blank. Make sure you total the number of books lost at the end of the report, and also make sure that your principal signs your report. Closing out the textbook account. These are just some tips. Make sure that your bookkeeper completes the substitute invoice form, and that was the first thing we talked about today. Make sure that you share with the bookkeeper that no money is held back in the account, that she writes a check for the full amount in that textbook fee account. Be sure the textbook department receives, that would be me, a copy of your substitute form and a copy of your check, so I can mark off that you have turned that check in to Jody Pierce, and that the original check does go to Jody Pierce. They do not want you to send a check through the courier. You actually have to bring that to the finance office.
I hope the presentation answered all your questions that you have about completing your end-of-year forms. Don't forget, all the forms and the due dates are in the Google Drive that I shared with you. If you have any questions or concerns about anything on your reports, you can email me or you can give me a call. Don't forget, the end of year countdown is started.